not holding back. Tonight on Our News.
A former deputy prime minister is weighing in on the smuggling of migrants bill that stirred up controversy. Stay tuned to Our News tonight for more details.
Plus, as the world tackles corruption's impact, one local organization says the Bahamas has made progress, but still has work to do. And a deacon learns his fate after admitting to attempted incest of his granddaughter. Why the judge says the sentence must send a message. Then in Our News at 7:30.
Imagine showing up to work one morning only to find that your stall had been broken into. Well, that's just one of the complaints vendors here at the Fort Wayne Castle are faced with. I'm Delvari Emmanuel. Stay tuned to Our News for the details.
Our News live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to Our News live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Kindino Knowles. A smuggling of migrants bill cleared the lower chamber yesterday, but a former immigration minister says Bahamians should be asking some tough questions about it. He's questioning why existing laws aren't being enforced, why the Ministry of National Security is leading the charge, and why the bill is being rushed through now. Joshua Williams picks up the story from here.
I question why they have to bring it now. I would have suggested they look at the entire immigration issue.
The Smuggling of Migrants Bill 2025 was passed in Parliament after the government removed Section 11 of the bill, which focuses on immunity from prosecution of smuggled migrants. Controversy has surrounded the bill in recent weeks with protests from the Coalition of Independents and the Free National Movement. Simonette, who's also the former Deputy Prime Minister, sharing this scenario he says Bahamians should find offensive.
I find it repulsive that I should be able to pay someone to smuggle me into the Bahamas and then not get prosecuted for a criminal offense and get fast-tracked to the right to stay here where I want to, not in the detention center. And other people have been trying for years to get that same right legally. I find that very offensive.
The former DPM says the powers already exist in law, adding it's more about enforcement and processing.
We used to send a magistrate down to Anagua and prosecute the illegal immigrants right there and deport them from Anagua back to Haiti. They were found guilty, put on the plane the next day, and sent back to Haiti. But if you don't prosecute them under the proposed Section 11, you maybe not be able to deport them.
Simonette also questioning what seems to be an overlapping between the Ministry of National Security and the Ministry of Immigration.
Do we send these people to jail or do they go to the detention center? And who is better to process the whole question of immigration, the Ministry of National Security or the Department of Immigration?
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
All right, thanks for that, Josh. And we've got more from that interview with the former Deputy Prime Minister coming up in Our News at 7:30. Well, today marks International Anti-Corruption Day, and countries around the world, including the Bahamas, using the moment to shine a light on the impact of corruption and the work still left to do. The day, which was established by the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, highlights how it affects communities socially, economically, and politically. And to mark the occasion, the Organization for Responsible Governance has launched Integrity Week, with Executive Director Matthew Aubrey telling Our News the two go hand in hand.
This day is recognized across the world as a principal time to reflect on the impact that corruption has on our systems and on the impact of day-to-day communities. Here in the Bahamas, we at ORG take this day as the opportunity to launch our Integrity Week, which is similarly an opportunity for Bahamians to think about the critical role that integrity, which is the solution to corruption, plays in our governance systems and in our day-to-day decisions.
And this year's Integrity Week theme is Shaping Tomorrow's Integrity. Initiatives started Monday and are expected to end on Sunday. They center on public engagement, education, and advocacy. There's also a planned virtual roundtable discussion that is expected to be shared on ORG's social media pages on Friday.
an opportunity for us to talk with folks from different spaces, different sectors and perspectives, listening from the media, from the private sector, from civil society, about the role that integrity can play, and more importantly, what we need to do to ensure that we have systems and elected officials and use of public resources that we can believe in, that can build people's trust and participation.
A 65-year-old Deacon has been sentenced to 12 years in prison for attempted incest. The convict's name has been withheld to protect the identity of his now 17-year-old victim. The court heard how the victim's mother fell on hard times in 2019 and moved back home with her then 11-year-old daughter. Prosecutors say on 2 occasions in September 2019, the girl's grandfather, then 58, attempted to have sex with her. In passing the sentence, Justice Renee McKay said the penalty was intended to act as a deterrent given the prevalence of sexual crimes against children. And months after a devastating fire reduced a Kemp Road community center to ashes, rebuilding efforts still struggling to gain momentum. The blaze erupted back in January. Our News was first on the scene as more than 100 people, including over 30 children, lined up for help. 3 residents who lived inside the center lost everything. The building, located on the compound of LJ's Hilltop Cottage Ministries, had long been a beacon of hope, offering hot meals, counseling, clothing, and a safe space for families in crisis. Founder and pastor Laura Johnson-Taylor says they're pushing ahead with restoration, but support has been limited.
Needs are great, and the struggle is real. So we have to stay with it. The children, we cleaned the place. We had some persons who assisted us with cleaning up, and the children still come. I tell them, I says, we're in squalor because nobody has come to our rescue to rebuild us yet. We've got the promise, and we're holding on to that.
And she says after-school programs and senior feeding initiatives continue despite working in temporary conditions. The ministry also distributing grocery packages this Christmas, thanks to help from organizations like Members Feeding Network and the U.S. Embassy. She's calling on more community support to help the work continue.
Well, we're looking at probably like 150 to 200,000 because we're looking at all of the computer lab and everything that was destroyed, and thanks to the effect of the groceries, and we take care of the seniors. We had just gotten from Mount Table a lot of depends, and then from different persons who had blessed us with things that we would have used with the ministry. We care for the least of these, so anybody needing anything, any help, anywhere, Family Islands even, we ship to the Family Islands, and we don't only serve Kemp Road, we serve needs.
All right, if you missed out on opening day for sales of Junkanoo tickets for Boxing Day, you've still got a chance. Seats still up for grabs, but not for long as Alive continues its ticket rollout. On Monday, some users were not able to access the Alive Events app and purchase tickets, but that issue was resolved, and customers were able to purchase tickets for both Boxing and New Year's Junkanoo parades, online and in store. Digital Application Manager Tanya Bain says the Alive Events app has been fully restored.
Section F, H, I, K, R, and H are actually sold out. Completely sold out. Rossum Square, for some odd reason, it's still available. We have about 20% still left in section L, but those are like in the higher seats. And then we have about 30% left in section J. Persons who are having trouble with their OTP, they can come into the store. The managers or the supervisors can assist. And then also I would recommend them to email us at events.support@bealive.com. Leave their mobile number, and one of my team members will be able to assist moving forward.
All right, we've got much more to get to tonight, but for now it's time for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center. Greg, did you get your tickets already?
Not yet.
I mean, you just heard it there. Rawson Square is still available.
I'm actually surprised
Yeah,
when she said
same.
portions of Rawson.
So does
Square
that mean you
available.
can get 3?
Yeah.
Make sure send 1, or get 4. You could get 2 from 1 from me
I'll
and
work on
Natalia, because
something.
Natalia can say, well, Ken, why you didn't ask Greg to get me 1 too?
I'll work on something. We'll deal with Italia on another day. But yeah, we'll work on that. But if you are moving around outside, it is wet out there. We have a lot of rainfall coming from a frontal boundary that moves into the northwest Bahamas. 74 degrees is our current temperature, mostly cloudy skies, east-southeast winds at 16 miles per hour, and your feels-like temperature is in the low 70s. Temperatures right now around the family of islands. We are settling into the low 70s across Grand Bahama, Freeport, Marshall, Abaco, 74 there, 74 also in Alistown, Bimini. Then we pick up 76, Great Harbor Key, Nickel San Andreas, 75 here in the capital, 74, 73 in Governor's Harbor, and you notice most of the areas of northwest Bahamas seeing some shower activity. Central Bahamas, 79 in Kemps Bay, Black Point, Exuma, 78, 75 Georgetown, and a string of 77s. Arthurstown, Cat Island, Coburn Townsend, Salvador, Port Nelson, Rumkey, and down in Deadman's Key, Long Island, and into the southeast Bahamas, 76 Duncan Town, Ragged Island, Abrams Bay, Meguana. Pair of 75s, Colonel Hill, Cricket Island, Delectable Bay. Pick up 78 in Providenciales, Tricks, and Kickers Islands. Deep south Matthewtown in Agua, you round out the temperature profile at 80 degrees. Frontal boundary now across the northwest and portions of central Bahamas. The boundary actually just dropped south of New Providence, and there's a lot of moisture behind that boundary. So we're going to continue with the cloudy conditions tonight through tomorrow. We expect some gradual clearing by tomorrow afternoon, but we do expect another front, which is now across central Florida. That one doesn't have much weather associated with it, but there's a slight cool down expected, so we're looking for some cooler temperatures for the end of the week. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Coming up in sports, it was a great run, but Team Bahamas falls 1 win short of the CAC games.
Hey, Greg Thompson here, and thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that follow button. And if you want to see more content like this, follow all of our news social media pages. And hey, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team you already trust.
NFL season is back, and Cable Bahamas is bringing the action straight to you.
Okay, so let I take it from here. This season, Cable Bahamas is the Bahamas' #1 NFL provider. More games than ever before. With any live fiber infinite bundle, Trio or Trio Plus, you unlock Thursday Night Football, Sunday Ticket in 4K, and every highlight that matters. Just opt in the Sports X for $5 a month.
And don't miss a touchdown. Sign up now.
Watch Thursday Night Football exclusively with Rev and a live fiber on channel 747 and 748.
"2025 has been a year to remember.
Fire trucks racing to the scene of the massive blaze.
This continued for more than 20 minutes as police officers tried to patrol the
Protesters had marched from Market Street and waited in the hot sun for hours. Well, I'm certainly standing in it. And
as I came out, the wind just picked up even more like it was a tornado.
Join us on December 28th at 8 p.m. for Our News Year in Review 2025.
It only takes a second for things to go wrong. Are you prepared? Don't become a statistic. Follow these simple rules. Leave early, obey road signs, wear seatbelts, invest in hands-free devices, and don't drink.
Welcome to Our Sports at 7, presented by 10th year seniors. I'm John Mark Nutt. Let's do show. In the end, Curacao was too steep of a hill to climb for Team Bahamas, and they came away with a silver at the Caribbean Baseball Cup. Curacao took the gold medal game 5-1 last night in the tournament finale at the Andre Rogers National Stadium and clinched the final spot in next year's CAC Games. Team Bahamas opened with a 3-2 win over the U.S. Virgin Islands, followed by the most lopsided win of the tournament, 29-0 over the Dominican Republic. It was followed by a 2-1 loss in the first matchup against Curacao and a 2-1 win over St. Martin to complete the group stage. It was another strong showing for Team Bahamas at the 2025 Carifta Artistic Gymnastics Championships. The 32-member team finished third on the medal table with 44 total medals, 8 gold, 11 silver, and 25 bronze. One of the meet's top performers was Kia Bazard, who dominated the level 7 division with 4 gold medals, beam, bars, vault, and the all-around. Other gold medalists include Asa Ingram on the level 4 beam, Tatiana Simon on the level 1 vault, and Anaya Williams in the level 6 vault. Before he takes up his new assignment as the coach of the New York Liberty, men's national team head coach Chris DeMarco had a rare opportunity to see national team players compete against each other in the NBA. In one of his last roles as the Golden State Warriors assistant coach, DeMarco was courtside to witness Buddy Hield take on VJ Edgecombe. That will do it for our sports. Stay tuned to Our News at 7:30 for details on these stories and more.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as dozens are dead in Haiti after a powerful gang alliance turns on itself. Human rights groups fear the death toll will keep climbing. Plus, as tensions rise across the region, U.S. forces roll vehicles and supplies onto a Puerto Rico beach, but officials still aren't saying what's being moved or why. And hundreds take to the streets in Havana, rallying for Nicolas Maduro and slamming U.S. policy toward Venezuela. What the Cuban opposition is saying about the demonstration when Our News returns.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Every week, one show drives the national conversation. On the Record. We challenge the issues, ask the tough questions, and dig deeper. We bring in the experts, the decision makers, and the voices that matter. Our discussions shape policy, influence change, and inform the public like no other. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. and again on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Catch us streaming live on Facebook or catch up with your favorite episodes on our YouTube channel. The conversations that shape the Bahamas start here, on the Record.
Conflict doesn't have to end in chaos. Before it escalates, take a breath. Step back. Choose peace. Listen to understand. Respectful conversations lead to real solutions. I am Sergeant 3599 Johnson of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, urging you, let's talk it out, not fight it out.
From 2017, one show has set the standard for current affairs in the Bahamas, and that's On the Record, one of the longest running current affairs shows on RTV. We've been the place where newsmakers come to talk. We've sat down with leaders in government, cultural icons, industry leaders, and international experts. From breaking news to in-depth analysis, our conversation sets the tone for the nation. We've tackled the biggest issues on the planet, held world leaders accountable, and given voice to the people. From politics to culture, business to the environment, no topic is off limits. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. and again on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Catch us streaming live on Facebook or
This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. Dozens of people have been killed in Port-au-Prince, Haiti after a powerful gang coalition reportedly turned on itself. Human rights groups on the island say they fear the death toll will keep rising. At least 49 people, including 10 children recruited by gangs, have been killed since Monday in Bel Air. Among them, a top gang figure known as Dede, who was beheaded. Another leader, Kempis Sanon, was seriously injured and reportedly overthrown while receiving treatment. The attack marks a rare fracture inside the Vive Ensemble gang alliance, which had agreed to stop fighting last year. Hundreds of civilians are reportedly trapped in their homes, with food and supplies running low. All this as Haiti heads into a critical election year. A new wave of U.S. military activity is underway in the Caribbean, with troops and equipment coming ashore in Puerto Rico on Friday. U.S. forces used Navy landing craft to move amphibious vehicles, Humvees, and heavy gear onto El Faro Beach in the town of Arroyo, all arriving from a San Antonio-class amphibious transport dock that's been stationed in the region for weeks. Footage showed service members unloading supplies and moving equipment along the coast, but officials are not saying what was transferred to local bases or why. The landings come as the U.S. maintains an elevated military presence across the Caribbean following recent deployments of aircraft, naval vessels, and additional personnel. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump now backing away from earlier comments suggesting he had no problem releasing video of a U.S. military strike that killed 2 survivors on a suspected drug boat in the Caribbean. On Tuesday, Trump said he's deferring to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, saying, "Whatever Hegseth wants to do is okay with me." This as critics questioned whether the second strike, ordered 40 minutes after the first, could constitute a war crime. Hegseth has not committed to releasing the footage, citing security concerns, while some lawmakers push for new legislation to force its release. The September 2nd strike is part of the administration's broader war on drug cartels, which has included more than 20 strikes and over 80 deaths. Meanwhile, hundreds of Cubans poured into the streets of Havana, Cuba this weekend, rallying in support of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and condemning U.S. policy toward the country. Demonstrators waved flags, held photos of Fidel Castro and Hugo Chavez, and chanted that Venezuela is hope, not a threat. Venezuela's ambassador in Havana thanked Cuba for its solidarity, accusing the U.S. of attacking Venezuela's sovereignty. The rally came as opposition leader Maria Corina Machado called for a global march against Maduro, with protests held in other countries the same day. Still to come in our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was December 9th. Then in our news at 7:30, former NFL star Herschel Walker begins his role as America's new ambassador, marking the first U.S. appointment to the Bahamas in more than a decade. But first,
imagine showing up to work one morning only to find that your stall had been broken into. Well, that's just one of the complaints vendors here at the Fort Wayne Castle are faced with. I'm Delvarte Emmanuel. Stay tuned to Our News for the details.
It's all coming up when Our News returns.
Too many suffer in silence, but silence only protects the abuser. Your feelings are real. Your safety matters. It's time to break the silence. If someone is hurting you, speak up. We will listen. We will help. I am Police Constable 4286 Sinead Douglas of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Let us build safer communities together.
Do you think you know domestic violence? Think again. It is not just physical, emotional, financial, or sexual abuse, and it doesn't discriminate. If you feel intimidated, harassed, or manipulated, you're not alone. The Bahamas Crisis Center and the Domestic Violence Task Force are here I am Sergeant 3992 Tamika Neely. Let's break the silence on domestic violence. Let's create safer communities.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer service that we pride ourselves on.
On this day in Bahamian history in 1838, George Cummine Strachan, who would later serve as Colonial Secretary and Acting Governor, was born in Scotland. Then in 1971, the Public Records Act came into force, establishing the Public Records Office and formally preserving our national documents. And on this day in 1985, Carlton E. Francis, educator, pastor, politician, and cabinet minister, died at age 66. The former Winton MP served in finance, education, and development before resigning over his opposition to gambling. A primary school now bears his name. If you want to learn more about the events that shaped the day that was December 9th, head over to ournews.bs. All right, so what do creatives and historians have in common? Well, it turns out there's a lot that ties these two professions together. A team from the National Museum traveled to Miami over the weekend to meet with former Global Director of Art Basel, Mark Spiegler, and Miami Beach executive who helped bring Art Basel to Miami, Robert Goodman. The executives telling our news the discussion centered on capacity building for Bahamian creatives and museum professionals, including technical assistance programs, a training hub in the Bahamas, and a framework for artists and technical expert residencies. Following those discussions, the group agreed to build a cultural ecosystem with the Bahamas positioned as a regional hub, linking museums and creative spaces. While on site, Bahamian executives also viewed works by acclaimed Bahamian artist Purvis Young. All right, if you want to learn more about that story and for all of today's top stories, you can visit ournews.bs. That's going to do it for us in News at 7. Joining us now, Natalia Hall. She's up with the latest headlines. Natalia?
Happy Tuesday.
Same to you.
Almost there.
You know, I want to say almost there, but only you, I think, have some time off coming up.
No comment. Before we take this quick break, don't forget to stay locked into our news all month long for your shot at driving away in that brand new 2025 Hyundai Creta. It's the ultimate giveaway with a live and auto mall. Just visit ournews.bs to learn how you can win. Good luck. Here are your latest headlines.
First tonight on our news at 7:30.
Imagine showing up to work one morning only to find that your stall had been broken into. Well, that's just one of the complaints vendors here at the Fort Wayne Castle are faced with. I'm Delvari Emmanuel. Stay tuned to our news for the details.
Also, former Deputy Prime Minister Brent Simonette is weighing in on the low voter turnout in the Golden Isles by-election. He says the numbers reveal deeper concerns that should not be ignored. Plus, Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell says he's recommending that the Bahamas and the United States explore a formal visa-free travel treaty. And later, former NFL player Herschel Walker officially assuming the role of the 14th United States ambassador to the Bahamas. A special ceremony hosted at Government House today. The story when our news at 7:30 returns.
Candino Notes here, and thank you so much for watching. Be sure and hit that follow button if you want to see more stories like this. Be sure and follow all of the Our News social media pages. And hey, don't forget, turn on your notifications so you never miss out on top stories from the team you already trust.
Tired of weak, over-the-counter bug sprays? Step up your pest control game with professional-grade products from the Struckham Shop. From powerful insecticides to trusted gel baits and termiticides, we supply the same products used by Struckham Commercial Pest Services, now available for DIY homeowners and small pest control pros. Whether you're protecting your home or building your business, get the edge with the Struckham Shop.
Family, how you look so down? Set up all cold and flu, could flip that frown. All the coughing and that running nose cannot last. You must come back to work and class. Set them all can deal with that fast, yeah. Try set them all cold and flu, daytime and nighttime too. Try set them all cold and flu and get back to the better you. Available at pharmacies nationwide.
Distributed by Lowe's Wholesale Drug Agencies Limited.
2025 has been a year to remember.
Fire trucks racing to the scene of the massive blaze.
This continued for more than 20 minutes as police officers tried to patrol the
Protesters had marched from Market Street and waited in the hot sun for hours. Well, I'm certainly standing in it.
As I came out, the wind just picked up even more like it was a tornado.
Join us on December 28th at 8 p.m. for our news Year in Review.
Welcome to our news. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Natalia Hall. First tonight, vendors who are temporarily operating from Fort Charlotte say a series of alleged break-ins is costing them thousands of dollars in merchandise and leaving many feeling unsafe. They spoke with our Delvardo Emmanuel this morning, saying they are frustrated and fed up.
A spree of break-ins, indefinite timelines are just some of the concerns vendors here at the Fort Fincastle Straw Market are faced with. Tonight, they're saying enough is enough.
This morning I came to work. I tired of losing. I came to work this morning. When my workers came, they called me. They said, well, you got hit this morning. Some of the stuff that I lose, it is more than angriness, and I'm tired of this.
Fort Fincastle straw vendors temporarily operating from tents at Fort Charlotte say they've repeatedly fallen victim to thieves. The vendors claim items like t-shirts, sweatshirts, souvenirs, stuffed animals have been stolen in recent weeks. They told me their losses are in the thousands. Veteran vendor Margaret Jones says the situation is no longer inconvenience, it's crucial.
We need to be relocated, not tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Today, I want to be relocated.
When we took a tour of the facility, vendors showed us the result of the latest alleged break-in.
T-shirts and cut shirts, they carry everything.
Vendors say the tents closed with nothing more than snaps and zippers, making them easy to breach. President of the Fort Fincastle Vendors Association, Tanya Fernandez, says the issue is not an occasional crime.
They said, take inventory of what you lost. We did that. They say, call the police. We call the police. They come, they fingerprint. Nothing is given back. No recompensation at all. The vendors has lost thousands of dollars. I myself have been hit twice. I have nothing left to sell now.
Our news spoke off camera with the project manager at the Fort Fincastle site, who told us the matters are now under police investigation. He also said they had a meeting with concerned vendors last week and updated them on how work is progressing at Fort Fincastle, but he could not give a timeline for when vendors could return to the Fort Fincastle site. Meantime, woodworker Ricardo Driftwood Bodie says the alleged crimes are draining the vendors faster than they can recover.
It appears that someone is targeting the t-shirts and pullovers. They work hard to hustle to buy their stands and the lures it like that. They promise us that we can have 24-hour security out here. The government appears as though they don't mean us any good.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Delvardo Emmanuel.
Now our news team reached out to the Straw Vendor Authority Board Chair, Calverna Small, who confirmed that the authority is aware of the theft complaints at Fort Charlotte and that the matter is currently being looked into. She also noted that before relocating to Fort Charlotte, vendors were told they would be responsible for securing their own items. Switching gears now, a jury made up of 5 women and 4 men has been selected to decide the fate of a man accused of killing his cellmate. Diallo Williamson is accused of the murder of Mikhail Miller at the Bahamas Department of Corrections. Miller was found dead in his cell on November 1st, 2021. Williamson, who is on remand, has denied the allegation at his trial before Justice Janine Weish Gomez and a 9-member jury. A new face is headed to the Senate. This as Deacon Small has now been formally appointed as the Progressive Liberal Party's newest senator. Senator Small replaces Darren Pickstock following his win in the Golden Isles by-election. Her appointment became official during a ceremony at Government House, where she received her instruments of appointment from Governor General Dame Cynthia Pratt, surrounded by family, friends, dignitaries, and party supporters. Prime Minister Philip Davis delivered the keynote address praising Small's accomplishments and saying leadership in the Bahamas doesn't belong to any one age group or social circle, but to those who prepare themselves, work hard, love this country, and are ready to serve. And the new senator shared what she plans to prioritize in this next chapter.
Right now, for me, what's really on my heart is mental health. I think a lot of our Bahamians at every age, at every gender, is dealing with different issues, whether it's depression, anxiety, and grief. And so I want to make sure that we expand the national discussion, whether it's in legislation, but also in our national discussion to break the stigma so that we get talking about it more at every level. So from the highest office in the land to our kitchen tables, I want to ensure that mental health is prioritized.
All right. Meanwhile, former Deputy Prime Minister Brent Simonet adding his voice to those concerned about the low voter turnout in the recent Golden Isles by-election. The Progressive Liberal Party's Darren Pickstock got the majority of the votes, beating the Free National Movement's Brian Roll of the Coalition of Independents and independent candidate Karen Butler. But the main story coming out of the Golden Isles by-election that only 49% of the nearly 8,000 plus voters registered in that constituency showed up to vote. And that's something Simonet says should not be overlooked.
At the last general election, I think our figure was 38. Previous elections, we've been up in the 80s and 90s. So we've had, from the election before the last, a tremendous drop in voter participation. There's definitely a voter apathy with governments. I won't say both. I mean, there was an apathy against the FNM. There was an apathy in Golden Isles. And I think the PLP should be worried about that.
And while some are questioning whether party leader Michael Pintard can lead the FNM to victory in the general election, Simonet, who's served the FNM for years, believes he is up to the task.
I personally worked with Michael Pintard. I think he's very capable. I think it brings a whole new perspective to politics. I retired at 65 from active politics to make sure younger people can get the vote.
No return.
Never to return. Anyway. And I think the younger people should have a chance. Us old people have been running this country for too long, and you could say we've lost touch. You could say we have wisdom. I think it's time to give the younger generation a chance.
Former NFL player Herschel Walker officially assuming the role of 14th United States Ambassador to the Bahamas. During a ceremony hosted at Government House today, Walker presented his letters of credence to Governor General Dame Cynthia Pratt, marking the beginning of his tenure. The ceremony was followed by a flag raising at the ambassador's official residence. Walker was confirmed by the U.S. Senate on October 17th and sworn in as ambassador designate at the White House on October 17th. He's the first U.S. ambassador to the Bahamas since Nicole Event left in 2011. He arrived in the Bahamas last week with his family to take on the new role. In a statement, the U.S. Embassy says the new ambassador will immediately begin meeting with Bahamian government officials, along with leaders in business, education, culture, and sports, to discuss the many shared interests of the United States and the Bahamas. Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell says he has recommended that the Bahamas and the United States take a serious look at a formal visa-free travel treaty between the two countries. Mitchell raised a proposal yesterday during the afternoon session of the House of Assembly as members continued debate on the Smuggling of Migrants Bill 2025. Right now, Bahamians can travel directly to the United States without a visa if they have a clean police record, but a visa is required if they're entering the U.S. from a third country. Mitchell says the discussion has become even more relevant as the U.S. intensifies immigration enforcement, with President Donald Trump recently vowing to ban migration from all so-called third world countries. He says the topic has taken on new urgency as U.S. immigration rules continue to tighten.
I indicated in sort of private discussions with the Prime Minister that I think we ought to formally proposed to the United States a treaty between ourselves for visa-free access of Bahamians to the U.S. I said to them, particularly since in these days of climate change and all these other and these climate emergencies, that if the 400,000 of us moved to the States, it would make a difference in terms of impact on the population. But the fact is that you have to behave lawfully, and this ought to be lawful entry into another country.
Well, heavy rain showers in the capital on this Tuesday evening. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with your first look. Greg, what can you tell us?
Yeah, thanks, Italian. A happy Tuesday evening, everybody. Gray evening outside, lots of rain. Those streets are going to be wet, so if you happen to be moving around, we're asking you to do that extremely carefully tonight, as it's going to remain rather wet. 74 degrees, partly to mostly cloudy skies. It winds out of the east-southeast. We have a bit of a breeze at 60 miles per hour. That's probably all associated with the showers and some possible thunderstorms out there, but it feels like temperature is in the low 70s. Taking a look at our satellite radar composite. Frontal boundary that pushed through the northwest Bahamas now dropping into the central Bahamas as we speak. A lot of moisture associated with this boundary. It's going to continue to be cloudy to overcast across most of the northwest and portions of the central Bahamas tonight to tomorrow, as this front is expected to park across the central Bahamas. But we expect another front by Thursday. That one is going to be a slight change in the air mass. It's going to be a slightly cooler air mass. So we're looking for some cooler temperatures for the end of the week. That's a quick check on conditions around the island, so stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come in our news, you see our team nightly delivering critical police updates, but officers recently visited Our News studios for a different purpose. Our News has partnered with the Royal Bahamas Police Force to launch 6 new public service announcements aimed at educating and informing the public. And later, the Royal Bahamas Police Force Northern Division is preparing for its highly anticipated annual beat retreat on September 16th at the Port Lacaya Marketplace. That's all coming up when Our News returns.
Every year, car theft in the Bahamas rises. Thieves are getting smarter and faster. Is your car a target? Compact vehicles are at risk. Don't become a victim. Simple steps can make all the difference. Lock your car. Invest in anti-theft devices. Park smart. Protect yourself. Stay alert. I am PC 4392 Trayshawn Ferguson. Stay vigilant. Report suspicious activity. And let's create safer communities together. Learn more by visiting theroyalbahamaspoliceforce.org.
My name is Trey Williams. I've been a Live Fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentlemen that came to the installation were very helpful, reliable, very knowledgeable, and the time allocated to do the installation was shorter than the time specified. Yeah, the previous provider I had, I noticed that the internet speed actually had intermittent on the services, so I was very grateful that the live fiber was available in my area. Once I was able to make the switch, my service and everything I needed was satisfied. My favorite feature would actually be being able to add any apps from the Play Store. It's just basically making any dumb TV a smart TV. I do a lot of back-end support, engineering support, helping clients working remotely when I'm from home. The internet is a very important aspect of my job and my life. My name is Trey Williams, and the future is home with a live fiber.
The dangers are escalating. Vaping liquid marijuana is on the rise, damaging lungs and increasing stroke risk. And a deadly new trend, lean, cough syrup, soda, and candy, a lethal combination that can cause seizures and even death. Possession means arrest and prosecution. I am Corporal 2641 Rory Fox of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Protect your loved ones. Learn more.
You see the Our News team nightly delivering news from the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Oftentimes, that news could be something tragic. But last week, officers of the police force visited Our News studios for a different reason. The Our News team solidifying our partnership with police and our shared goal to inform and educate the public. Our News anchor Megan Shepard leading a project recently to produce 6 unique, compelling, and informative public service announcements.
We always communicate when it comes to the murders and the fatalities, and while it is your duty and our duty to report that to the community, we know we also have a duty to inform and to educate. And as Jerome Sawyer mentioned, we didn't want the mundane stand up, read a TP, stern, we are talking to you. We realize that our community wants to have a conversation with officers. We want to feel a part and not just talked at. And so we worked with the entire team. They were great to work with, coaching them through getting through the PSAs and bringing a little bit more personality to it, feels more relatable and community friendly. And we hope we delivered that to you. We wanted it to be visually appealing. That's where our wonderful production team came in. The shooting, the editing, the graphics. We had some actors from the Our News team in some of the scenes as well. So overall, this was a really great experience.
The PSAs focus on traffic safety, domestic abuse, sexual offenses, conflict resolution, drug abuse, and the ongoing stolen vehicle problem, sharing with our audiences what you need to do to stay safe year-round. Senior Assistant Commissioner of Police Zhivago Dames accepting the visual pieces, noting that this is just the beginning of a great partnership.
We are very pleased. It definitely, work that has produced is quality work. And so on behalf of our Commissioner, Ms. Shanta Knowles, and the entire Royal Bahamas Police Force, we want to thank you. We so appreciate this partnership with Our News in producing these PSAs. I want you to know that these PSAs are just not media pieces, but we look at them as tools that will help us to get the message out to the public and to help keep the community safe. And so we look forward to future products or future projects with Our News, for we know that with these projects it not only strengthen our bond, strengthen our relationship, but it also gives the community an opportunity to see exactly all of our responsibilities and help in keeping our community safe.
All right, congrats to the entire team. Good job with that, Megan. Such a great effort. Well, the Royal Bahamas Police Force Northern Division, still on the police force, they're getting ready to host one of its most anticipated holiday traditions, its annual Beat Retreat, which is set for December 16th in Grand Bahama. The event is a display of patriotic pride, and this year's showcase will be held at the Port Lucaya Marketplace. Officials say it's their way of giving back to the community this Christmas season. This year's event will be held under the patronage of Commissioner of Police Shanta Knowles and led by the Royal Bahamas Police Force Marching Band and Pop Band. Assistant Commissioner of Police for the Northern Division, Alvaro Dame, says they're excited to partner with several community groups for the holiday celebration.
It begins at 4 p.m. and concludes at 6 p.m. And you can expect a wonderful treat of Christmas carols and Christmas songs to stir your spirits and to uplift you. Once again, it's a free gift from our Commissioner to the community of Grand Bahama.
This event creates an opportunity for our vendors and tenants to make much needed money for this holiday season. Spreading cheer and happiness to families within the community is what Port Lucaya is all about. Therefore, we were ecstatic when we heard the news that this event was happening. And it complements our already fun-filled holiday activity lineup for the month of December.
And that was Robin Major you just heard from, the Acting Entertainment and Marketing Manager at the Port Lucaya Marketplace. And the Ministry of Tourism's Senior Manager, Corenda Roll in Grand Bahama, says they are proud to support the initiative, while Straw Vendors Association President Lorenzo McKenzie says the event is deeply appreciated by small business owners.
We want to ensure that our guests have a wonderful experience when they come to our destination. And, oftentimes persons may say that there's nothing to do on our island. Well, we have the Beat Retreat, which is an added feature to what they can do during that holiday time.
We want to thank everybody who's involved, GBPA, all of those stakeholders involved, who is going to help Grand Bahama, but also help Port Lucaya, especially the straw vendors who is in much need of business.
Coming up in sports, a silver medal but no CAC games for Bahamas baseball. A third place finish for Carifta Gymnastics, and a national team head coach weighs in on his last week in the NBA.
It's more than a podcast. It's a movement. This is Breaking the Silence with Junior Clovis, where conversations we avoid finally have a place to breathe. Every story, every struggle, every breakthrough is brought to light, unfiltered and unspoken until now. Join us this Sunday at 2 p.m. as we confront the topics that matter, share real experiences, and change the conversation around mental health together. Watch, listen, break the silence.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Every week, one show drives the national conversation. On the Record. We challenge the issues, ask the tough questions, and dig deeper. We bring in the experts, the decision makers, and the voices that matter. Our discussions shape policy, influence change, and inform the public like no other. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. and again on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Catch us streaming live on Facebook or catch up with your favorite episodes on our YouTube channel. The conversations that shape the Bahamas start here, on the Record.
Conflict doesn't have to end in chaos. Before it escalates, take a breath. Step back. Choose peace. Listen to understand. Respectful conversations lead to real solutions. I am Sergeant 3599 Johnson of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, urging you, let's talk it out, not fight it out.
Welcome to Our Sports presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm John Mark Nutt. Let's do show. In the end, Curaçao was too steep of a hill to climb for Team Bahamas, and they came away with a silver at the Caribbean Baseball Cup. Curaçao took the gold medal game 5-1 last night in the tournament finale at the Andre Rogers National Stadium and clinched the final spot in next year's CAC Games. Team Bahamas opened with a 3-2 win over the U.S. Virgin Islands, followed by the most lopsided win of the tournament, 29-0 over the Dominican Republic. It was followed by a 2-1 loss in the first matchup against Curaçao and a 2-1 win over St. Martin to complete the group stage.
Majority of these guys, them come from different teams and colleges, and you're just assembled within 2 weeks right before the tournament. You know, to have the good team chemistry it is. You know, shout out to the teammates, shout out to the players. You know, for to be able to come together for a short period of time and to put on for our country.
Well, this is a step in the right direction on our restructuring with our national development. We are happy with what we're seeing tonight. We see, obviously, we're going to do our post-mortem and we're going to move forward with our program.
Toby Simmons and Dante Stewart were named to the all-tournament team. Ellison Hanna led the team in home runs, and Chavez Fernanda led the team in strikeouts.
I'm hurt. This one hurt a lot because we had him. I truly believe this was an opportunity for us to really showcase and put our country on our back, and really did that. And we never gave up. We fought. Balls were not getting down. Balls were being hit hard. Guys that haven't had hits all tournament were finally getting in there. So we did partly our job, but it's just how the game goes.
It was another strong showing for Team Bahamas at the 2025 Carifta Artistic Gymnastics Championships. The 32-member team finished third on the medal table with 44 total medals, 8 gold, 11 silver, and 25 bronze. One of the meet's top performers was Kia Bazard, who dominated the level 7 division with 4 gold medals, beam, bars, vault, and the all-around. Other gold medalists include Asa Ingram on the level 4 beam, Tatiana Simon on the level 1 vault, and Anaya Williams in the level 6 vault. Before he takes up his new assignment as the coach of the New York Liberty, men's national team head coach Chris DeMarco had a rare opportunity to see national team players compete against each other in the NBA. In one of his last roles as the Golden State Warriors assistant coach, DeMarco was courtside to witness Buddy Hield take on VJ Edgecombe.
The future is super bright for VJ, and it was great to see him up close, and then to see him competing with Buddy, who I've obviously watched his level of play for a long time. So just a good moment for Bahamas and Bahamas basketball to see those two compete.
That would do it for our sports. We all need to know what we need to do to get by the CBC level in baseball. Now we have to see if Bahamas baseball can get it done. Back to the studio.
When our news comes back from the break, cloudy skies in the capital on this Tuesday. Greg is back with your extended weather when our news returns. Stay with us.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
Every year, car theft in the Bahamas rises. Thieves are getting smarter and faster. Is your car a target? Compact vehicles are at risk. Don't become a victim. Simple steps can make all the difference. Lock your car. Invest in anti-theft devices. Park smart. Protect yourself. Stay alert. I am PC 4392, Trayshawn Ferguson. Stay vigilant. Report suspicious activity. And let's create safer communities together. Learn more by visiting theroyalbahamaspoliceforce.org.
My name is Trevor Williams. I've been a live fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentlemen that came to the installation were very helpful, reliable, very knowledgeable, and time allocated.
This is our news. Welcome back. We have that frontal boundary now pushing into the central Bahamas. A lot of showers and thunderstorms behind the boundary affecting the northwest parts of the Bahamas. We will continue to see those cloudy conditions tonight. A lot of rainfall out there. Most of it is light to moderate. Will continue to be that trend. The front is going to park across the central Bahamas, so we're expecting clouds and the weather to remain with us through tomorrow. But there's a second front actually across central Florida. That one is going to drop in across the area by Thursday. Some slightly cooler air mass, no weather really associated with that boundary, but we expect a nice dip in temperatures for the end of the week. Taking a look at the future forecast, moisture associated with that boundary across that area right now, it's going to continue to affect the islands throughout the rest of the night and into tomorrow, mostly the northwest Bahamas. Some of that activity will be pulling out through Wednesday, and of course, as I mentioned, another front expected by Thursday. That one will usher in some more changes, but most of the activity will be pushing into central Bahamas during that time frame. Boating forecast for the northwest Bahamas tonight to tomorrow. Small craft caution in effect. Risk of occurrence is higher there. Northeast winds, they are at 15 knots tonight, but they will be falling off 10 to 15 tomorrow. Seas 2 to 4 feet, but they will be up to 7 feet along Atlantic exposures in northeasterly swells. While in the central and southeast Bahamas, variable winds 5 to 10 knots, but we have a caution flag down there as well. Winds are going to stay out at that speed. Seas 2 to 3 feet, but they will be building up to 5 feet along Atlantic exposures in north to northeasterly swells. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In the extended forecast, we'll keep the showers in the forecast. Wednesday, temperatures will climb near the 80-degree mark, but that frontal boundary coming through on Thursday takes a dip in our temperatures, looking at some upper 70s. That will take us through the end of the week, and then we expect another front by the end of the weekend into early next week. More showers in the forecast. Temperatures will stay near the 80-degree mark. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody.
Hi, Greg. I'm enjoying the cool temperatures. And with that, we thank you so much for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.
Hi, and thank you for watching. I'm Natalia Hall. Be sure and hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications to see more content from the team you already trust.